Welcome everybody to Daily Hope. We are in 2 Timothy chapter 4. Now before we jump into the passage, I want you just to pay attention to the sense that Paul has that his time on earth, this side of heaven, is coming to an end. And the profundity and gravitas that's imbued into his final words to Timothy as he seeks to inspire Timothy's conviction and obedience in light of a future grace, a future destiny that awaits us. Listen to these powerful words. I am already being poured out like a drink offering, and the time for my departure is near. I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. Now there is in store for me the crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will award to me on that day. And not only to me, but also to all who have longed for his appearing. It's a powerful image, this idea that there's a future day, a moment in all of our futures where we will stand before Jesus and he will crown us and award us for the way that we have lived our life here on earth. Now that is just mind-blowing, and it brings a bit of a fear and trembling, but also an incredible excitement and significance to the way we live our life today. Paul is seeking to strengthen and embolden us in the way we live today in the light of this future grace and destiny. He illustrates this idea of keeping our faith with two metaphors. I have fought the good fight and I have finished the race. Now, by keeping the faith, what Paul means is that we are keeping to our conviction that Jesus is the Lord and Savior of our life. And number two, it's about keeping to our obedience to the good work of giving the gospel to the world. And he uses these two metaphors of the fight and the race to illustrate what it's like to keep our faith. So let's unpack these two metaphors. Number one, I have fought the good fight. And by this, Paul is illustrating the fact that there is a real struggle, a real effort, that there are real forces of resistance that we have to contend against. We are not in neutral territory. Listen to these words by C.S. Lewis. He writes, there is no neutral ground in the universe. Every square inch, every split second is claimed by God and counterclaimed by Satan. There are forces of resistance that we have to fight and contend against. And the Bible paints a complex picture of our enemy that resists us as the devil, and the flesh, and the world. Now, the devil is the spiritual forces of evil arrayed against us. Now, the flesh are the disordered desires within us that resist the desires of the Spirit at work within us. And then when those disordered desires get codified in the systems, the philosophies, and the structures of our society and our culture, the Bible calls that the world. The devil, the flesh, and the world. This is the unholy trinity of our enemy. Now, there is a fight that we need to be ready for. And that's why Paul moves on to the next metaphor. And he writes, I have finished the race. If the good fight is meant to teach us that there's going to be resistance that we encounter, the imagery of finishing the race brings up the reality of endurance and perseverance that's needed to keep our faith. Anybody can start a race, but notice Paul's emphasis is on finishing the race. Because in the fight, we're going to be wounded, we're going to get exhausted, we're going to be discouraged, and we're going to have moments where we're weary. I don't know about you, but you may be there right now. Maybe there's somebody you've been praying for years, and it just feels like nothing is getting through to them, and they're just as far away from Jesus as they were when you started praying. Or maybe there's a fight with your flesh that you have been engaged with, and recently there's a moment of weakness where you gave in, and there's this lie that nothing in you has changed or ever will change. To this, Paul wants to encourage you, and he says this, Galatians 6:9, let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. Endurance and perseverance doesn't rest on willpower alone, but on this energy and the strength that comes from trusting in this future grace, the reality that you are going to stand before Jesus. And he is going to crown you with righteousness, with his favor, and with his love. Let that future grace, that destiny, that day, that moment, let it encourage you today. to fight the good fight and to finish the race that's been set out for you. God bless you, and have a great day.